Hey, what is going on YouTube? Aaron here. We are in the Sejong, the Tier 8 Tech Tree Pan-Asian Cruiser. And you guys saw my review of the Harbing. I thought these things were fun ships. I had a feeling I wasn't going to like this one, but guys, I actually love this ship. This ship is so much fun to me. I've had more 200k games in this ship in the like probably 20 games than I have with any other ship. That being said, this was my very first game, and I wanted to put this game as the first look or as the first video for a few reasons. Number one, it highlights the strengths of the ship and shows how it's going to be played most effectively. But number two, this game also turns out to be a horrific loss. So, sorry to spoil the ending for you guys, but our team does absolutely nothing. And that's not necessarily a knock on any of the players here, but I feel like there's an emphasis as a community contributor and a YouTube or whatever to put out these fantastic games. And while I do have Feature Friday, which are the absolute best of the best, I want it to be known that not every game is going to be a damage record. You're not going to be getting the best positionings, the best teammates every game. Now this was done solo during a stream, and I don't think anyone was stream sniping, but just a random solo experience. But anyway, to the gameplay here, you can see we do have a DD going in, and this is actually domination instead of Tears of the Desert. And this is almost a perfect position for the Sejong. We have two battleships approaching, we have spots, and we have our smoke screen. Now, I wanted to test the waters here, so we are, you see that the cap is contested and we are detected here, so we're going to go ahead and turn out. You do not need much maneuverability in this ship, and it is still fairly agile. You can open water gunboat, but with your high citadel and very low health, you don't want to be doing that. The good news is you do have a lot of defensive versatility besides dodging, which we just did right there. You do have long-range deep water torpedoes as well as a few short-duration smoke screens here. We are running fully packed, and we will go over our build at the end. But if you'll notice, I am playing this rather defensively. I am not YOLO rushing in. If you guys watched Chili's video on the Drake, a Harbing sailed it broadside out, popped his smoke screen in front of Chili, but because it takes a little bit for your smoke screen to deploy, Chili easily depth struck him. So, and that's also kind of that point. I don't like putting videos against potentially paid actors to highlight how a ship looks, but this is not the case for this ship. Now, that being said, this ship is not easy to play, but if you position correctly, you utilize your utility with your smoke and your deep water torpedoes, you can have a massive impact on the game. And like I said, I already have like 4 or 5 potential videos, so don't judge necessarily this game. But again, that was kind of the point of this video. I wanted to put out, I think it was Randy or somebody, was talking about just showing games where, you lose or you make mistakes. And I do potentially make a few mistakes, but like we said, as the game goes on, you'll kind of see that this game was not necessarily my fault. But that, you're always looking to improve as a player. So anyway, here I probably could have smoked up a touch sooner. I probably could not, not wasted the time and done that lap around, but I wanted to make sure the Kronstadt was not pushing in. The Kronstadt, as we know, has an 11.7 radar. And if you get radar into the smoke, if you get spotted, close to these ships, you will, as you will see later on in the game, you will not exist. 28,000 health or 29,000 health there is not a lot. I think if two citadels from any battleship at the tier can delete you. So now the good news is you have such light armor that they usually end up as overpens, but that is besides the point. If you notice, we already have 3 fires total, 2 on the Georgia there and 1 on the Palmern, but this Palmern is pushing fairly aggressively. He does have a Hydro, and our DD is actually doing his job, so we're going to try and support him. Here is the time we use our torpedoes. I probably should have thrown a set earlier and then popped the reload booster. I probably mismanaged this reload booster, if I'm being honest. I should have dropped the other side, but you do not have the best maneuverability inside a smokescreen here, so... but we're just flooding the waters. You have 8 torpedoes aside. If you launch all of those, that's 16, then pop your reload booster. 7 seconds later, you can have another 16 in the water. Again, that being said, you will have to turn, and at full speed, it's going to be a difficult maneuver, as Dr. Van Gelder would say, but... we have this Friesland here popped up, but actually, now that I'm watching this replay, I should have been paying attention, but on stream, sometimes I lose a little bit of focus. We saw torpedoes, correct? So we know that both DDs, or at least 2 of the DDs, are actually over here. And we know this because the Friesland does not have torpedoes. Now here is a very risky spot for the Sejong here. We have enemies pushing into us, but this is also where the ship excels as we launch a widespread torpedo salvo, which one ping only will not be happy with. But honestly, with the amount of ships here, you're never going to correctly guess what those ships are going to do at 10 kilometers plus. So launching a widespread is probably your better bet, all things considered. But that being said, we're on the defensive now. We do have our smoke screen back up, so we're going to go ahead and pop that. We're still going to think about kiting out, though, right? We're not going to be pushing into this. And I know some people like to use their torpedoes at 2 kilometers and assure themselves a dev strike, but that ultimately would just result in your death. People with a high torpedo accuracy are like, yeah, I have a 30% torpedo accuracy. Well, that means you probably get too close. And here's the ZF6. We mentioned that we saw sets of torpedoes, and that was from the Z. So we are on the full defensive here. We have 2 battleships, a cruiser, and 2 destroyers on our flank, which again lends the question how our team did so poorly on the other side. But again, we're on the defensive here. We don't want to hide out in our smokescreen. And the reason being is if we get pushed, especially because that Kronstadt is pushing into radar range, we're goners. You have a 6.5 or whatever the smoke, it's around 6 kilometers of a smoke firing penalty. So that DD was at 7. So we just want to push out of here. Now, thank goodness that DD smoked up. So we are able to retreat. But we are spotted here, so we're going to start maneuvering. Honestly, you should probably just be broadside with how armor works. You'd probably just get overpinned, but we decide to fully engage in the maneuvers here. Take a salvo, get a little bit lucky. I think one of those was actually a bounce. You do have a nice citadel belt as we launch more widespread. And again, we are just zoning right now. I am trying to hit anything and everything that I can hit. Now, we do know that deep water torpedoes will never hit a destroyer, so maybe we'll just make them think about it, But other than that, don't try and torp destroyers with your deep water torpedoes. They do not hit them. That was my favorite. Like when the Pan Asian destroyers came in the game, that was my favorite week because people just kept calling other people cheaters. It's like my torpedoes went right through you. Yes, it clearly says cannot hit on it. Here, though, we are just, again, we're on the defensive. As you can see, that we already have a witherer. We already have 7 fires. I feel like it should have been more. And we actually get another game on stream right after this, actually, where we get like 19 fires. So even with the low fire chance, your high DPM, you will be getting a lot of fires if you can position yourself correctly. But there goes the wither. There goes 2 torp hits on that Palmer, and I think those guys are willing to rebuild. So we don't get the kill, even with the flood, but torp hits nonetheless, as well as popping the high caliber. Now here is the shot. Yep, there it is. So that is game over for me. But this position here, our smoke just pops, but unfortunately I think the Palmer or another ship got a shot off, and that is our death. Yeah, the Palmer did. So you can see how quickly you go from full health to not full health with just a simple misposition there, as we get 1 more torp hit on the Palmer that already took 2 torp hits. So yes, skill to rebuild is very balanced and a great perk. But 150,000 damage, and here I am ranting about our team. But honestly, guys, we all experience these games, which is why I wanted to put this video up. So we did our job. We played defensive as best we could. Honestly, I should have started playing defensive a little bit earlier. But if you notice, we distracted 5 ships, almost killing them without will to rebuild, killing 2 of them. And our team still just collapsed. I don't know what happened. Some people play for fun, which is fine. Not every game is going to be the Super Bowl. But I wish some people just played with a touch more strategy. But like I said, I wanted to put this game up, so that everyone knows that it does happen to the best of best players, community contributors, whatever, some people say. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and give it back to myself from the past. And Aaron from the past is going to go over the stats and commander guide. So thanks for watching, everybody. You guys have a great one. AA run out. Peace. Ball gun, right? So we're running Burn It Down. We could actually push beyond range. I also like Ingenious to know when you're getting targeted, but I think Burn It Down is a little more helpful. Blind Justice, Sponge, which didn't help on that last shot, and Torpedo Chaos. So fully packed. Lightful might be helpful. I don't know. I just kind of have put Lightful on here, and then we have Mikawa for increased concealment. So, chat, what does this icon look like to you guys? I mean, right? No, but the Sejong, yeah, that's a great boat. It really is. I like it. 29,000 health. 4.8 reload actually isn't the best, but it's doable, right? It's in Atlanta, so what is Atlanta's reload? 5? I guess that is pretty good. I guess I'm thinking like tier 8 and legendary, like light cruisers, like the yeah. Colbert is like 2 seconds now, so 13-kilometer range, 67 knot speed, or by 4, so that's just toxic. AA is 98 as well. Maneuverability is pretty good, 34 knot speed, tight turning circle. Rudder shift, it could be better. I might even throw Baltimore on there, but you don't need it that much if you're playing smart, right? So I'm interested to see this scoreboard. Yeah, dude, that's just... Well, there you guys have it, the final scoreboard of a rather lackluster game. But like I said, I wanted to put a few of these games, at least every now and then, just so you guys realize that we do lose games. Not every game goes according to plan, but you should still try your best, in my opinion. That being said, GG's to everyone in that game. We will be getting a lot more Sejong replays. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Love you guys. Hey, run out. Peace.